Welcome to the Short Funk Podcast. I'm Tom Barbalet. I've been occasionally, you've got to appreciate some of this Short Funk thing is formalized. I actually write down topics. I have various ideas as they come up through the week, and I think, that's a good Short Funk. And then I reflect on them, and occasionally I record them, and pretty generally they come out. Some of them are too curious, too diverse, too in different directions, and I just think that doesn't make anything sound coherent. And a couple of recent ones, I just thought this is not even the way that one would communicate about these things. When I was a youngster, I lived in a divorced family, and having access to new clothes and fashion and all these kind of things was just not something I had access to. It wasn't part of my day-to-day life. It was mainly about survival. Most of my life was about survival, really, until I reached maybe 23, 24. That's when I became comfortably bourgeois, and really there was a variety of problems that led through that as well. So if you can imagine a younger, much more nihilistic Tom trying to survive in a society that was actively working against him, you'd have the circumstances of the period of time in my life. Again, fashion in this context was never part of my life. In fact, it was rather curious that people spent extra money to have particular brand name clothes and these kind of things. The whole thing seemed very curious to me. When I became comfortably bourgeois, it still wasn't something that stuck with me. And it was something actually that just I found generally irritating. I do a majority of my shopping online. I find things that I've purchased that have worked for me previously, and then I purchase more of them again. And this has created a standard. There's something, a definition of humanity, particularly of men, that they become plaid-wearing schlubs at a particular time. This is really the circumstances associated with, in one degree, a lack of formality of dress. We are in a rare point where the formality of dress that has historically been the case is no longer the case, and I'm fully embracing. But also associated with a perception of certain career types, certain ideals where, the formality that once was there is no longer there. I look very curiously at the folks that spend so much of their time and money buying brand name clothing. And if there was anything that came through my early childhood, it was that the importance of a good intellectual discussion is independent of, what people are wearing and general appearance. It all seems to me to be very visually bigoted in terms of way of looking at these. But now I find also particularly associated with video and producing music that appearance and the clothes that one chooses to wear might actually have an impact, because I am very much in the minority associated with my perspective of fashion. I mean, I'm in the minority in terms of those in popular consciousness. And I wonder how one should really address this. Like, should you just rebel against this categorically? Should you choose not to film yourself, which is ultimately the decision that I've made? Or should you actually start embracing that your appearance and the clothes that you wear are actually relatively important in a small, vacuous part of society, but ultimately the gatekeepers that will allow you to make transitions through these various things. In this light, historically, I would have emphatically claimed no and demanded that I be allowed to wear my general drab stuff with the view that I was making a statement against the multi-billion-dollar companies that control this particular aspect of our society. But now, I'm more philosophical. I don't really care about it as passionately. And I realize maybe certain doors have to be opened if you play certain games. This was a Short Funk recording, a long time in coming. I haven't been able to phrase it as well. Usually gotten to the 1 minute mark and just thought, this is not a Short Funk topic. But I've been able to put it out there now. And I'm going to conclude by saying Tom Barbalet in San Jose, signing out.